Donald Trump's new company has gone public today. Is it an opportunity to print money or something that you should be very, very concerned about? Hey everyone, this is Kevin the Apptrepreneur. Thank you so much for spending a few minutes of your time here with me today. And we are going to talk about Donald Trump's new publicly traded company. And we're going to try to leave politics out of this as much as possible. This is not financial advice. This is just an observation from someone who personally buys stock. And I will say I personally will not be buying this one. Now, the company that is selling under the ticker DJT, which obviously stands for Donald J. Trump. And the company's main asset is the Truth Social media network. That's basically the platform that Donald Trump created when he got booted off of Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, and all these other platforms. He created Truth Social Media, and he has basically been posting there ever since. Now, another company bought into that and did a whole bunch of shenanigans where basically the companies merged through a reverse split or something like that. Honestly, the history isn't too important. What you do need to know is this company has now merged. It is now trading publicly, and you can now buy stock in it. And when I checked the stock on Robinhood, at least as the time of this recording, it was up by quite a bit of money, like $18 or something like that. I'll post an image of what it's up as of the editing of this video, but needless to say, it is a lot of money. And so obviously if you had 10 shares of this stock, you just made over $100 in one day. And if you have more, you have a lot more. And meteoric stock rises like this are rare. They do happen, and they do happen with companies that go on to have very long, healthy lives. But I'm looking at this stock, and I do have to make a video and caution people that if you are going to buy this stock, you can only put in what you can afford to lose. And let me tell you why. And this is just a basic thought process for any stock you buy. It might be investing, but to a certain extent, it's also gambling. I hate to say it. The stock market is kind of a legalized form of gambling. I mean, you can always hope that these companies would be too big to fail and thus they will never go away. But you do have your Kmarts and, you do have your Blockbusters. You do have these unspeakable titans of power that, Macy's, of course, that eventually kind of come to a crash. It does happen, and so you only put in what you can afford to lose. And I think with a stock like this, it is especially important because, unfortunately, while I don't want to talk about politics, I do believe politics are playing a role in why this stock is doing well. So for those of you who are not aware, Donald Trump is going through some legal problems, and that's just putting it mildly. There's a lot of stuff going on, and we're going to leave it at that. I'm not going to give my opinion on what I think of that whole process. But one thing that is true is that Trump is also on the line for a lot of money because he lost one of his trials. Now, I believe he plans to appeal that conviction. We'll see what happens upon the appeal. But in the meantime, he owes a lot of money. And Donald Trump stands to basically gain a fortune because of this stock going public. He owns a lot of shares in it, so his fortune overnight is like doubling, if not tripling. And while I do not believe he can sell the stock for at least a few months, the bottom line is once he does sell that stock, that's money that goes into his pocket. Now then, I believe because of this judgment and at least his claims that this is like a witch hunt. I mean, there's already like the Republican National Convention have tried to introduce rules to get donors to pay for his legal bills, things like that. Again, things I'm not going to get into, but I have no doubt that one of the reasons the stock is growing very fast is because there are a lot of ardent Trump supporters, many of whom probably never have bought stocks before, or they've bought very little stocks, who are now buying this stock as a way to support their guy. And for those people, they will probably buy the stock if it'll help Donald Trump out. They're not actually buying the stock for themselves. It's kind of like the people who buy the GameStop and the AMC stock. Those aren't necessarily sound investments. It's just a way to stick it to the corporate people who were shorting those stocks for so long, and now basically the corporate, these corporate bigwigs don't short stocks like that anymore because the internet basically cost them billions of dollars. So this DJT stock, which is doing very well today and will probably do well for the next few days. It's not a guarantee, but I do think that is true. And it's probably because of Trump supporters buying the stock. It's kind of like a donation to Trump so that he can pay for his legal bills. Here's the problem if you are an investor, or even if you are buying this stock to help out your guy. First of all, again, Trump can't sell it for several months. And the temptation as the stock grows is to sell it for a profit. So I think it's going to be very volatile for the next couple weeks at the very least. But long term, I'm going to make a prediction. Don't know this for sure, but I think it's a pretty strong prediction. I believe that when he can, I believe Trump is going to cash out his chips. I believe he is going to sell all of the stock or most of it. He's going to either pay off his lawsuit settlements or he's going to pocket the money himself. He's going to do something with that money because it's real money. And once he does that, the value of this stock will deplete very fast. However, even if he has to wait a few months, this company is not a great business model. And they don't have a product that is going to make the stock stay above the water. I believe people who got into this, they are experiencing a sudden influx of cash. And they're going to sell as soon as they can. Because if you think that the Truth Social Network is worth investing in, I'm not here to give financial advice. I'm not going to say whether it is or isn't, but it's probably not a good investment. I mean, you always have to ask some common sense questions before you can think about like buying a stock. Like, first of all, do I know anyone that's using Truth Social? Do I use the product? Do I know anyone who intends to get a Truth Social account? The number of people using Truth Social has dwindled quite a bit. Same thing for X, by the way. And part of it might be because new competitors like Blue Sky and Mastodon and Threads have come around, so the microblogging sphere is getting a little crowded and everyone's going to kind of pick and choose which one their favorite platform is and all that jazz. But they all essentially function the same. Can Truth Social honestly compete with Threads, which is by Meta, or X, which is owned by Elon Musk, or Blue Sky, which is owned by Jack Dorsey? Do you believe that Truth can honestly compete with a Meta-owned social media platform or a Jack Dorsey-owned platform or Elon Musk's platform? It probably not, and that, I think, should give you pause if you're considering investing in this company. But other people might want to consider investing in the company because they're going to look up the ticker, it's going to be in the news for at least a few days, and they're going to see probably that the price is going up, and maybe it's going up at a pretty fast pace, and you'll want to put money into that. Now, if you do that, let me say you are free to do that, but know that that is probably a FOMO thing, fear of missing out. I don't think that it's going to stay high or it's going to be sustainable. So if you do get some stock and you get an amount of money that could potentially be life-changing, I personally recommend you cash out and enjoy it. Trust it from someone who thankfully was blessed. I got caught up in the Dogecoin thing. I got caught up in the AMC stock. Unfortunately, I really dropped the ball on GameStop, but I got a couple of sums of life-changing money, and it allowed me the finances and the stability to basically cut away from one of the old ways I was making money, which was talking about Uber and Lyft, and start focusing on projects that I actually wanted to talk about, including this one. So if you can cash in on that, by all means do it. But this is, in my opinion, not a long-term investment. It's an extremely volatile stock. I don't actually know if buying this stock is going to support Trump, because a lot of people could sell their stock, the money could not come in, the stock could get very, very much devalued before he even gets around to being able to sell his shares. And once he does sell his shares, the stock could potentially be useless, because apparently he holds 60% of the company in his hand. Common knowledge, wisdom when it comes to the stock market, you do not want to invest in a company where one guy or one entity owns more than 40% of the company and can really tank the company if they decide to sell everything and cash out. But that being said, I am curious now, and I open the floor up to you. What do you think of this company? Are you going to invest in it? Is it something you want to invest in? And why? We would love to know. So comment below, like, favorite, share, subscribe, and as always, flame responsibly. Have a good one. Hey, you made it to the end. Thank you so much for making it to the end. Just a few more things. First of all, the names that you see on the screen, these are our Patreon and YouTube member supporters. And I thank each and every one of them. Their support helps me make exclusive videos for Patreon and YouTube members, as well as keep the channel running. And of course, is just of huge kindness to me. Also, don't forget to check out the iCritic-led podcast on Spotify, Apple, Google, Deezer, whatever podcasting service you listen to, it is there. We definitely want to see you there. And hey, there's also other videos that you can check out. So, you know, check out these other channels, these other videos, especially that one. I think that's a really good one.